أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أم حسبتم أن تدخلوا الجنة ولما يعلم الله الذين جاهدوا منكم ويعلم الصابرين ولقد كنتم تمنون الموت من قبل أن تلقوه فقد رأيتموه وأنتم تنظرون. صدق الله العظيم. This is verse number 142 and 143. In previous verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated the benefits of jihad and the reasons or the wisdoms of jihad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that Allah made jihad as a obligatory act to know, in order to know those who believe and those who are sincere in their belief. And Allah wants to take among you martyrs, because through jihad it is only possible. And second wisdom, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated that Allah wants to purify you people from sins, because when you will perform jihad, so in return Allah will forgive you your sins. And the ultimate reason is that Allah wants through jihad to eradicate, to erase the disbelievers from the face of the earth. Now, in this present verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, addressing to the Muslims, to the believers, that, O believers, do you think that you shall enter paradise even before Allah knows those of you who carry out jihad? Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the word knows, but according to the commentators, knows, Allah knows everything. It means Allah tests you. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say that, do you think, O people, O believers, O Muslims, that you shall enter paradise even before Allah knows, means tests you, those of you who carried out jihad, and Allah tests those who are steadfast, patient. It means that paradise is a very highest degree. That is why in the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated in the previous verses that race with one another towards the paradise. In Allah said the width of paradise is like the width of heavens and the earth, meaning paradise is as wide as the heavens or the earth. So now we see in this word that people try to get only a small building, to get only a small home, so they waste their entire life for earning. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the highest degree, the very the place which are very, very comfortable. So for this Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that you will struggle in different forms, then Allah will give you paradise. Without saying through tongue that we believe in Allah, not performing the acts of Islam, so it is the very, you can say, if someone believes in Allah and believe in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so yes, he is a Muslim, but he is not a complete Muslim. If a person does not perform the obligatory deeds of Islam, so Allah will enter him paradise, but after giving him punishment for his disobedience and obligatory actions. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, actually the battle of Uhud was very dreadful, terrible, because in the beginning Muslims scored victory, but suddenly this victory turned into the temporary defeat, setback. So in this time, the very terrible situation faced by the Muslims, even some of them, they ran away from the battlefield. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that yes, O Muslims, you suffered from such situation that some of you people were killed, some of you people were injured. Even the Holy Prophet ﷺ himself was injured, and one of his tooth was broken during this battle. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the people that, do you think that you shall enter paradise even before Allah knows those of you who carry out jihad and those who are steadfast? So there are a lot of people, they say that we are Muslims, but sincere Muslims are those who perform the actions made obligatory by Allah. So the very important act, that is jihad, fighting in the way of Allah. Fighting in the way of Allah is not an easy task, because it is easy to spend money in the way of Allah. It is easy to spend your time in the way of Allah. It is easy to learn the Holy Quran. It is easy to visit mosques, to perform Hajj. But the very difficult thing, that is fighting in the way of Allah. Because in jihad, a person sacrifices his life in the way of Allah. So that is why there is hadith in which the Holy Prophet ﷺ, while describing the importance of jihad in Islam, he said that when a martyred person will be enter into paradise, so Allah will ask him, do you have any wish? So he will say that no. Oh Allah, you have given me all things in paradise. Again Allah will ask him, do you have any wish, any desire? So Allah will ask him 3 times. Then he will say that yes, one desire I have, that I want to be killed again in your way, in the way of Allah. This is my desire. Because according to a hadith, when a person is killed in the way of Allah, so he feels such a test or a thing which is very, very delicious, even in the time of death. That is why the martyred people, they would desire that again Allah made him die in the way of Allah. So that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the one reason sometime Allah gives victory to the disbelievers, and this time Allah tests those who carry out jihad and who are the steadfast patient. Because if you fight in the way of Allah and you get victory every time, so it is easy. But when you are injured, you are killed, so in this time a person became visible that he is steadfast, he is the sincere or not. So that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested especially the companions of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, because they were the model for the people. And the second verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that you had longed for death before you faced it. Actually, the background of this verse is that when Muslims, believers, got victory in the battle of Badr and the second year after Hijrah, so some of the companions of the Holy Prophet ﷺ did not take part in this battle of Badr. They were absent from this battle. So those who did not participate in this battle of Badr, they were longing for the death, and they used to say that if again any battle came, so we shall participate in this battle, and we will fight in the way of Allah, and we will show our bravery for the religion for the sake of Allah. So in the battle of Uhud, when they faced difficult situation, so due to the nature of a man, some they were became weakened, and some of them, due to the dreadful and the terrible situation, they ran away, they left the battlefield. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to them that you had longed for the death before you met it, you faced it, but now you have seen it, meaning death, with your open eyes. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informs us through this verse that yes, there are some people, they used to desire, to wish for death, that they will fight in the way of Allah, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that yes, they desired sincerely, but actually death is not an easy thing. It is the end of life. So sometime people, when they face death, so then they become weakened. So this and these verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala draws the map of the situation occurred during the battle of Uhud. So this is the summary of these two verses. Am hasibutum an tadkhulul jannata? Do you think that an tadkhulul jannata, you shall enter paradise, walamma ya'lamillahu alladhina jahadu minkum, even before Allah knows those of you who carry out jihad, wa ya'lam as-sabirin, and knows those who are steadfast, who are patient. وَلَقَدْ كُنْتُمْ تَمَنَّوْنَ الْمَوْتِ, and you had longed for death before you faced it. فَقَدْ رَأَيْتُمُوهُ وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ, now you have seen it with your eyes wide open. Again, am hasibtum, do you think, O people, an tadkhulul jannata, that you shall enter paradise, walamma ya'lamillahu alladhina jahadu minkum, even before Allah knows means tests, alladhina, those, amanu, alladhina jahadu minkum, those minkum of you, jahadu, who carry out jihad, who perform jihad, wa ya'lam as-sabirin, and knows those who are steadfast, who are patient. وَلَقَدْ كُنْتُمْ, you had longed for death, تَمَنَّوْنَ الْمَوْتِ, longed for death, min qabli, before, أَن تَلْقَوْهُ, you faced it, you met it. فَقَدْ رَأَيْتُمُوهُ وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ, now you have seen it, you have seen the death in the battle of Uhud. وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ, with your eyes wide open. It is the Holy Prophet ﷺ explained this verse, verse number 143. by saying this hadith, لا تتمنوا لقاء العدو. Do not wish to encounter the enemy. وَسَلُوا اللَّهَ الْعَافِيَةَ, and ask Allah for your well-being. فَإِذَا لَقِيتُمُوهُ, but yes, if you do encounter them, فَاصْبِرُوا, then observe patience, meaning then fight with patience in the way of Allah. وَعْلَمُوا, and know that أَنَّ الْجَنَّةَ, that paradise تحت ظلال السيوف, that paradise is under the shade of swords, meaning in the beginning it is not allowed to wish for the fighting, but we have to ask Allah for well-being, meaning for peace. But Allah, the Holy Prophet ﷺ says, فَإِذَا لَقِيتُمُوهُمْ, however, if you encounter them, then observe patience, meaning then don't run away from the battlefield, then fight with steadfastness. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the good news regarding jihad. وَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ الْجَنَّةَ تَحْتَ ظِلَالِ السُّيُوفِ, and know that paradise is under the shade of swords, meaning when you fight in the way of Allah, so immediately if you are killed, you will enter paradise. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Holy Prophet ﷺ has given the good news as to the fighting in the way of Allah, that paradise is under the shade of swords.